stand for doxology, and to be followed by a prayer to be led by Crystal Honey Trinity.
Humble themselves, humble themselves and pray. If they seek my face, humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways. I will hear from heaven and forgive their sins. I will hear from heaven and heal their land. Lord, heal our land. Father, heal our land. Hear our cry and turn our nation back to you. Lord, heal our land. Hear us, O Lord, and heal our land. Heal our sight and heal our broken
Light of Christ, awaken us this hour to the glory of your presence. Shine among us in such a way that the darkness without and within may be pushed back, such that we might truly see what is revealed. Help us to recognize our sin for what it is. Enable us to behold the world as you created it to be, as you created us to be. Empower us to move from darkness to light, from sin to new life. May your light within us shine through into worship this day as always. Fill this place, these people, with your presence, for yours is the power, and the salvation, and the creation, now and always. Amen.
Let's all sit down. To our highly respected adjudicators, members of the two opposing groups, my fellow classmates, good morning. The motion for today's debate is regarding the hottest and one of the most vociferous issues in our society, and giving impact not only national but also international, which is the war on drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, the one who really enacted such advocacy is our very own President Rodrigo Roa Duterte in connection to his campaign slogan, "Change is coming." Now, if we try to get the gist of our President's intention, it is full of positivities and optimism. However, it turned out to be a pessimistic one in the eyes of every Filipino by the time that many innocent lives were involved. In line with that, the two opposing groups beside me will present their argumentations regarding the issue. But before that, Ma'am Rosanna Alilain will present the criteria for this debate. Ma'am.
Okay, good morning everyone. How about the audience? Good morning class.
Morning, ma'am.
So today is our class debate, which is entitled The Declaration of the War on Drugs by our President Rodrigo Duterte. So you are expecting to present your ideas the best as you can. You are formed into two groups. The proposition team, who will defend the ideas, what it means for. And the other group is the opposition team, who will refuting the negative side of issues. Now, before we are going to start this class debate, may I read to you the Rules for this classroom debate. Number 1. Each group is to agree on the 2 or 3 significant points of argument. There will be 2 rounds of debate. First is the presentation of the ideas or the argument for each speaker on both sides. Second will allow the pro to respond to the arguments and vice versa. Our debater speaks at a time. No side discussion. All comments, questions must be addressed only to the speaker directly. You may not simply ignore a comment and shift the argument to an unrelated point. Each person will credit a source of statistic quotation, survey, or the other research information at the time the source is mentioned during the debate. So that's all our rules for our class debate. Now, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
So may I call on Hidaya Aniversario, our moderator, to present to us the speakers at the same time our board of judges for this class debate.
Thank you, ma'am. So allow me to introduce to you the members of the proposition team on the positive side and the opposition team on the negative side. So first we have in the proposition team, Alexis Joseph Nagar, the first speaker, Angeline Bailon, the second speaker, Cyril Joy Guer, Remark Ero, and Charles Toman Alido. In the opposition team or the negative side, we have first speaker, Gerardo Flores, Lovely Ligada, Jenna Claire Carbonilla, Dexter Aniversario, and Pia Villas. And to be adjudicated by the following adjudicators. First, we have Sir Melvin A. Garcia, Master Teacher 1, a senior high school teacher in our senior high school teacher. Second, we have Monticello SDL, Teacher 3, junior high school math teacher. And lastly, we have Ma'am Cecilia Castro, Teacher 3, a junior high school Filipino teacher. Each speaker will be given a maximum time of 3 minutes, and our timekeeper will notify if your time is up. So without further ado, I'll give the stage for the proposition team first speaker, Alexis Joseph Magyar.
To our respective adjudicators, to my able proponent and opponent, spectators, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant one. I, as the first speaker of the proposition side, strongly claim that war on drugs should be allowed all over the country. President Duterte declared war on drugs because of the continuous growing population of people who are involved in drugs. Philippines is one of the countries that are continuing fighting against drugs. President Duterte thinks the best solution to diminish this criminality in our country, and this is war on drugs. Some of the members of the United Nations are having an investigation about human rights violation. But our president is doing what is right for our country's own good. For anything else, allow me to read the terms to be considered. First, we all know that our president wants to punish all who are involved in drugs. As what he had said, I hate drugs. On the other hand, our government is just protecting us. They don't want to kill, especially our president. Because every president aims to have a peaceful and progressive country. He doesn't want to kill, but the drug users are pushing him to do so even he doesn't want to. Second, other people say that government's war on drugs is in the way of killing. But in the first place, the PNP is killing a person because that person is also responsible for the killings of others. Why do you all keep on saying that government is killing these people? Did you put in your mind that those who are killed are also a killer? Third, our government plan for all drug surrenderies, and that is rehabilitation. All people who surrendered are carried in the rehabilitation center for them to have a profit without dealing with drugs. They're undergoing different activities for them to forget what they did before. There are a lot of people who change, but there are some who continue using drugs. As a matter of fact, they're one of the victims of war on drugs. They're not afraid to die, so they don't stop in their vices. In addition to what I said, war on drugs is in the way of killing. Because our president thinks of idea, and that is killing. Because killing is one of the solutions that make other users afraid of what might happen with them if they continue killings and doing crimes. Hence, our government is just having a warning to all drug users that if they don't stop using, pushing and dealing drugs, the PNP are waiting for them. And lastly, Some of the surrenderers that finished 1 year in the rehabilitation center are having their own freedom because they sacrificed for it. And I strongly believe that such advocacy must be implemented throughout the country. I've done my part and I rest my case.
The first speaker of the opposition team, Dermel Flores.
A pleasant morning, everyone. I, as the first speaker from the opposition side, against on what the first speaker from the proposition side said, that war on drugs should be allowed all over the country. Since becoming president of the Philippines in June 2016, Rodrigo Rua Duterte launched a war on drugs which resulted in the extrajudicial deaths of thousands of alleged drug dealers and users across the country. He encouraged the public to go ahead and kill the drug addicts. What have followed seemed to vigilant attacks against suspected and alleged drug users and addicts. The police are involved in large-scale sweeps. Commission on Human Rights and the former Secretary of Justice, Senator Leila de Lima, under the previous administration, had condemned war on drugs and held hearings with these violations in the human rights. By the early year, 6,000 of people have been killed and about 2,100 have died because of the police operations, and the remainder is what are called death under investigations, which is shorthand for vigilant killings. One's problem cannot be solved by another. That EJK and war on drugs is not the solution for the Philippines' economic and social progress, but rather the poverty rate in our country. One of the reasons why age 16 above involved in the drug because they doesn't have money for their needs and wants because of the poverty in our country. Now, for the political officials and for the influential people who were allegedly involved in the drug trade, use drug for them to have much money and for them to become powerful. My opinion is, why not Rodrigo Rua Duterte, our president, took his time for the poverty aid in our country and not for the EJK and war on drugs that is happening now. Because as we know that the bottom of this problem is money. Money that can sustain our needs, money that can sustain our wants, and money that can help us to be contented in what we have. I, as the first speaker from the opposition side, strongly against that war on drugs should not be allowed all over the country. That's all. I've done my part.
The second speaker of the proposition team, Angeline Bailon.
Good morning to all, especially to my co-members, to the opposition side, to our adjudicators in this debate, spectators, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning. I, as the second speaker of the proposition side, strongly agree that war on drugs should be allowed throughout the country. Since becoming the President of the Philippines in June 2016, Rodrigo Duterte had launched war on drugs that has resulted in the extrajudicial deaths of thousands of alleged drug dealers and users across the country. John Gershman, an expert in Philippine politics, said that the Philippine President sees drug dealing and addiction as a major obstacle of the Philippines' economic and social progress. The drug war is a cornerstone of Duterte's domestic policy and represents the extension of the policies he implemented earlier in his career as mayor of the city of Davao. When Duterte became president in June, he encouraged the public to go ahead and kill drug addicts. His rhetoric has been widely understood as an endorsement of extrajudicial killings, as it has created conditions for people to feel that it's appropriate to kill drug addicts. The PNP also revealed a list of high-level political officials and other influential people who were allegedly involved in the drug trade. The dominant drug in the Philippines is a variant of methamphetamine called shabu. According to 2012 UN report, among all countries in the East Asia, Philippines had the highest rate of methamphetamine abuse. Why aren't the rich among these were killed? Simple. The market of shabu are the poor community. The president noted that the rich use more expensive drugs. He explained that cocaine and heroin are more expensive than shabu and do not damage the brain as much. Since the market of shabu are the poor, they became the target of police operations. Although human rights organizations and political leaders have spoken out against the crackdown, Duterte has been relatively successful at not having the legislature engaged in the serious oversight of the investigation into this war. Since there are no trials, so there is no evidence that the people being killed are in fact drug dealers or drug addicts. That's all I have done my part.
The second speaker of the opposition side, Loveling Ligada.
The present drug scenario in the Philippines is getting worse. The local and international drug syndicates are being apprehended and prosecuted by the law. I, as the second speaker from the opposition side, strongly disagree that war on drugs should be allowed in the Philippines. On October 2, 2016, the Philippine President declared a state of lawlessness throughout the country that is unleashed to fight crime and drugs. With its explicit calls for the police to kill drug dealers and users, almost 9,000 people accused of drug dealing and drug use were killed in the Philippines. It has led to thousands of EJK, resulting in egregious and large-scale violations of human rights. How can these drug addicts change themselves if they are already killed? President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs is morally and legally unjustifiable. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no such benefit of extrajudicial killing and summary executions. We all know that killing is a sin in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of our Creator. It is true that sometimes this kind of killings eliminate the number of known criminals, but it's good to remember that the end should not justify the means. Here are the following negative effects of extrajudicial killings. First is the abuse of authority. Second, does not respect right to live. You're not given a chance to defend yourself and start a new life. Third, does not respect human rights. Fourth, inevitable wrong convictions. Just like in death penalty, after days, weeks, or years, a victim of extrajudicial killing will be found innocent. And last is giving your country a bad reputation. I don't believe that shoot to kill is the best way to achieve the goal of a safer country. No one can encourage the public to kill drug addicts. EJK is the product of the war on drugs and isn't the best way to apprehend drugs in our society. That's why President Duterte's war on drugs should not allow in the Philippines. Instead of killing mankind, why don't we think the other way in eliminating drug in our community? That would be all, and I rest my case.
Third speaker of the proposition side, Cyril Joyful.
To my co-members, to the opposition side, to our adjudicators in this debate, spectators, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning. I, as the third speaker of the proposition side, I strongly agree that war on drugs should be allowed all over the country. President Duterte declared and implemented in this war on drugs, and also the governments, because other high-ranked politicians and also the police officers, they use the money of the people to use in these drugs. President Duterte wants to decrease the corruption in our country. But how would the president achieve a peaceful nation if its people doesn't cooperate with its advocacy? Like I said, that other police officers involved in this issue of corruption in drugs, they corrupt the money of the people to do immorality in our country. Then, according to the sources and the internet that I read, that our president's testimony about the police, you policemen are most corrupt. You are corrupt to the core. It's in your system, Mr. Duterte said. Adding that, he thought up to 40% of police were used to corruption. When I said, I protect the police, but I won't protect lying, he said. Another thing is, how will our politicians give their comrades of drug-free society if they are the one who was using it? We have the right to make the decision in our country. But let's remember that we have a president to protect us and to improve our country. Remember that he was a mayor and president in our country. He went to Lyceum of the Philippine University where he earned his Bachelor of Art degree while he earned his law degree from San Vida College. Our president have enough knowledge to lead our country. So we need to support the decision of our president because it is for our own good. Yes, killing is a wrong solution, but don't you notice that the violence that the drug addicts doing in innocent women, it's very unrighteous. They rape and have no opponent against them. and then they kill them after they use women. And innocent people, they take money and then they kill them after. And many people that they have killed, we cannot count how many lives they have wasted and taken into the world. We need to punish all who are involved in drugs to stop the corruption and criminality in our country and to become peaceful our country. Again, I strongly believe that war on drugs should be allowed all over the country. That's all. Thank you.
The third speaker of the opposition team, Jenna Claire Calvin.
Good morning, everyone. The third speaker from the proposition side says that war on drugs can help on decreasing the rate of corruption here in our country. We all know that corruption is one of the biggest problems that we and our country is facing right now. Corruption is one of the main reasons why there are plenty of people suffering and drowning in poverty. And yes, it is true. A lot of people are corrupt. Also, the third speaker from the proposition side said that there are a lot of politicians who are corrupt. They use the government's money, the people's money, to use to buy and to do what they want. Like in drugs. Many of them dealing in drugs and making a business involving to it. All of us want to stop this. We want to clean our country. We want to put in jail all of those politicians who are corrupt. Wait, not only corrupt politicians, but also politicians who are involved to drugs. But isn't it right to kill them in order to make them pay for what they've done to us, to our beloved country? Isn't it right to kill them without any strong evidence that they are pushers, dealers, and users? No. We all know that this kind of way to stop this issue are wrong. Wag tularan drug lord ako. These are the words written in every cartoon found on top of a dead body of an illegal pushers who was killed without due process by vigilance who think that the law is in their hand. We don't know if those who were killed are innocent or not. But how are they going to defend themselves if the cartoon put on top of their dead body says that they're involved in illegal drugs? Killing our brothers and sisters are wrong. We don't have any rights. Even if you are the president or whoever you are, you don't have any rights. Because only God can take our lives because He's the one who gave it. If we want to stop the issue about illegal drugs, if our President Rodrigo Duterte wants that Philippines will become a free drug country, then killing thousands of people are not the solution to it. We must remember that the mistakes will never be solved by another mistake, and a crime will never be solved by another crime. And according to the Bible, Exodus chapter 20, verse 13, you shall not murder. And I, from the opposition side, strongly claim that war on drugs should not be allowed in all over the country. Thank you.
The fourth speaker of the proposition team, Raymond Aaron.
Good morning to all, especially to my co-members, to the opposition side, to our educators in this debate, spectators, ladies and gentlemen, Alilain. I, as the fourth speaker of the proposition side, strongly agree that war on drugs should be allowed all over the country. Because the term war on drugs first heard the late American President Richard Nixon in 1969. This is a fight against proliferation of illegal drugs. This controversial campaign also included military among participating countries. However, despite a good intention of prohibition of illegal drugs, not everybody finds it beneficial to the people. President Rodrigo III himself refuses to use the term, saying that it is counterproductive. Most of the heinous crimes committed are drug-related, be it drug trafficking, murder, theft, and sexual crimes. Illegal drugs play a significant role. This is why supporters of war on drugs say that implementing stricter policies and giving hefty punishment to the violators are important. With illicit drugs in the streets, drug users will find it hard to get their hand. When these prohibited and these instances of committing crimes will be reduced. When drug addicts will not easy access to illegal substances, they will experience the highs or hallucinations. They will drive them to commit crimes. We wouldn't need to steal either so we can buy drugs. Put simply, without the pushers, there will be little to no users. The war on drugs had improved policies with regards to these illegal substances and sweetened the fight to go after pushers, users, and manufacturers, with a punishment to give it to offenders being heavier. Unscrupulous people and distribution will be urged to listen the drug they sell to user for fear of being caught and incarcerated. Supporters of war on drugs say that this campaign has led to distribution of illegal substances in the street. Consequently, the price of these drugs increase and people will not be able to afford them or perhaps choose not buy anymore. All this will lessen the numbers of drug users. If the fight against drugs will continue and stricter policies will be implemented in airports, schools, and other possible locations where drugs transaction and trafficking are mostly likely to take place, there will be free from drug-related activities. Consequently, there will be peace in most communities and people will feel safer in the streets.
The fourth speaker of the opposition team, Dexter Aniversario.
The Philippines is experiencing a human rights crisis, and extrajudicial killings is happening everywhere in the country. Shooting people with already 1,000 lives killed by policemen and unidentified gunmen. The president all war against drugs seem to be victorious. Innocent or not are being killed because the president has permitted the killings to end the illegal drug trade in the Philippines. From the start of the drug wars to the end of July, police said over 3,400 people were killed in their operations. Police said about 2,100 deaths, among some of 30,500 murders over the same period were drugs related, attributed to the turf wars, informants being silenced, or vigilant killing drug users. Mr. Chito Gascoigne, the chairman of the Philippines Commission on Human Rights, said Duterte's comments emboldened police to do their worst. The police are essentially free to do what they will because they are almost guaranteed that will not be investigated or charged, Gascoigne said. And then Duterte said it was good the 32 criminals have been killed in Bulacan, then added, let's kill another 32 every day, maybe we can reduce what ails this country. Various officials and human rights organizations have urged the president to halt the killings, but there are still lives being taken away every day. We all know that President Rodrigo Duterte doing this for the security and sake of his constituents, but he does not aware that his way of preventing this illegal activity may possible cause problem or else it may affect in our next generation. Let me cite an example. When I am watching on a TV show last night, the artist and the innocent child having a conversation. The artist said, hindi ka ba gumagalak ng gabi? Child, hindi po. Artist, hindi naman. Bakit naman? Child, baka po kasi barilin ako ni Dugo. See, look, even a young and 8 years old child know what is happening in our country. Possibly it will mark in their mind, it will also affect their life. Speaker number 4 on the proposition side said that war on drugs should be allowed. Then let me ask you, can you take that feeling if you have seen an innocent guy that was killed by a policeman or identified gunman? Reason of he or she did a violence? Or what if one of your family member was involved on that illegal drugs? Then you will know that many people want to assassinate one of your family. So, do you agree with that war on drugs will be the reason why one of your relatives were killed? Let me tell you this, because of that war on drugs campaign, there's a lot of crimes that are happening in our country. One of those examples is killing. Let me remind to all of us that all people have a second chance to live. No one can get the lives of other people except God. So, if war on drugs campaign will be continuously working in our country, well, crime must be there. I, as the fourth speaker of the opposition side, I am strongly against that war on drugs should be allowed all over the country.
The last speaker or the fifth speaker of the proposition team, Charles Dogan Alilain.
Good morning, everyone. I, as the fifth speaker of the proposition side, strongly agree that the war on drugs must be allowed in the Philippines. President Duterte is only less than 15 days as president, and already war against illegal drugs has resulted in something unimaginable, where hundreds, if not thousands, of drug users, pushers, and drug lords are surrendering in great numbers and overwhelming the police headquarters. Philippine National Police Ronald De La Rosa told the inquiry that there are some 3.7 million drug users nationwide. Since July 1 and August 21, 2016, he said police have detained a total of 10,153 alleged drug pushers and users, with more than 600,000 individuals surrendering to the authorities. Almost every category of serious crime contains a high proportion of preparators who in some way or another have indulged in criminal acts as a consequence of the illegality of drugs. The Oplantoka has been quite successful due to the number of drug users and pushers surrendering to authority. Even robbers and murderers have failed to flee, which led to the policemen arresting them and giving justice to the family of the victims. With the issue of extrajudicial killing and summary executions of the families of the victims of these extrajudicial killings are contended that there is a human rights violation. As we all know, human rights is a right as freedom from unlawful imprisonment, torture, and fundamentally to all persons. President Duterte mentioned something interesting about human rights on his present SONA. He pointed out that human rights must work to uplift human dignity, but human rights cannot be used as a shield or an excuse to destroy the country, my country, and your country. On the other hand, De La Rosa said, if any policeman is found that he violated laws in self-defense, he will be investigated, prosecuted, and accordingly punished. On speculations on vigilant killings, the PNP does not and will never condone vigilant killings. Staff were asked to take over the jail guards and clean the new Bilibid prison, the main penitentiary in the Philippines where drug lords house in. So, if you are not engaging in these types of illegal trade, why would you be afraid? And why would you be angry? And why wouldn't you support it? Aren't you going to feel relieved and safe? That will be all. Thank you.
The last speaker of the opposition team, Pia Villas.
The fifth speaker from the proposition side highlighted that human rights can't be used to block the flow of mandating war on drugs, according to what President Duterte had said on his SONA. So I think it would just worsen the situation if human rights are ignored and not valued. The incarceration of people involved in drugs is enough. That is enough. It is not necessary to kill them. Security forces and unidentified gunmen have killed more than 7,000 suspected drug users and dealers since July 1, 2016, including at least 3,116 killings by police, according to government data. The death toll also doesn't include the victims that Duterte calls collateral damage, shooting shoot in the crossfire of anti-drug operations. The extraordinary brutality of the Duterte drug war is undeniable. Many of the victims are found in back alleys or street corners wrapped in packing tape. Their bodies, bullet-ridden, are bearing stab wounds and other signs of tortures. Moreover, police routinely kill drug suspects in cold blood, and they cover up their crimes by planting drugs and guns at the scene, and that is true. Interviews with witnesses and victims, relatives, and analysis of police records expose a pattern of unlawful police conduct designed to paint a veneer of legality over extrajudicial executions that may amount to crimes against humanity. The research paints a chilling portrait of mostly impoverished urban slum dwellers being gunned down in state-sanctioned death squad operations that demolish rule of law protections. The opposition side voicing that President Rodrigo Duterte war on drugs in the Philippines is morally and legally unjustifiable. That's all. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, speakers. Now we will move on to the second part of this debate to respond for the argumentations presented on both sides. And now questions will be entertained. So, who will ask first?
The third speaker said in the
shall not murder. How can you say that you shall not murder? But if there is written in Exodus 21 verse 23 to 24, but if there is a serious injury, you can take life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, and foot for foot.
We all know that war on drugs are a very serious issue that we and our country is facing right now. Yes, I have said that according to the Bible, Exodus chapter 20, verse 13, you shall not murder. Yes, it is true because it is written in God's 10 commandments. But I am not saying that you should not protect yourself if someone will hurt you or will kill you. Of course, you should protect yourself. You will fight for yourself. But isn't it right to kill them, to kill people in order to make them pay for what they've done? For the bad things that they've done? Like in illegal drugs. Isn't it right to kill thousands of people in order to stop the illegal drugs scattering in our country? No. Because, as I have said, mistakes will never be solved by another mistake. And a crime will never be solved by another crime. Thank you.
So, anyone else from the group?
According to the speaker of proposition side, so are saying that war on drugs is the only solution to diminish criminality in our country. Then tell me if how many percent of Filipino people agree in declaration of war on drugs and state me, what are the good effects of war on drugs?
Please excuse me to the members of the opposition side. First of all, I didn't say that war on drugs is the only solution to diminish this criminality in our country. I said that war on drugs is the best solution to diminish this criminality. When we say best solution, there is another solution. But war on drugs is the best solution. In line with that, you're asking me if how many percent of Filipino people are agreed in the declaration of war on drugs. May I remind you that there are 85% of Filipino people are agreed in the declaration of war on drugs. I will state to you the good effects of war on drugs. First, it can minimize the criminality in our country. Second, war on drugs can make other people afraid of what might happen with them if they engage in this kind of crime. And lastly, if our government can punish all who are involved with drugs, we can achieve a peaceful and progressive country. That's all.
So, once again, thank you very much, classmates, for a very well presented ideas. So, others.
The fifth speaker of the opposition side said that the President Rodrigo Duterte war on drugs in the Philippines is normally and legally unjustifiable. Then how can you say it is normally and legally unjustifiable? It is because of killings or it because of human rights violation?
So it is obviously unjustifiable in brutal killings that results to human rights violation. We can say that because suspected people didn't undergo a proper investigation and process, but instead they were immediately shot and tortured by an unidentified gunman. So it is clear to you why it is unjustifiable. Thank you.
And lastly, we have another question.
Everyone doesn't want to hurt you to be hurt. According to the fifth speaker of proposition side, you have said that Duterte's war on drugs involved killings of suspected suspect for the country. So, do you mean that we have to kill suspected Filipinos for the good of the country? Should we have to sacrifice many lives for the better?
Sorry, I didn't say that Duterte's war on drugs kills suspected suspects. I have said that Duterte's war on drugs have resulted in something unimaginable, which resulted in the captured, resulting in of illegal pushers being captured, And I didn't say that suspected suspects were killed. I said that they are surrendering to the authorities.
So there you go. Once again, thank you, classmates, for the verbal testimony. Yes. So now, Ms. Juncture, may I ask at least 4 students from the group or from the audience to give their own reflections regarding the issue.
Good morning, everyone. Here's my reflection from the proposition side. So, I just want to say that we should not blame our government. Why? Because drug pushers, users, dealers themselves are the reason why they are getting into this. If they don't want to die, then it's easy. Follow the legal orders, obey the supportive doings given by the government, respect each other, live freely, and most of all, love the community. Drug pushers, users, dealers themselves are also the reason why the crime that happened here in our country is increasing. That's why the government or the President Duterte launched that war on drugs. If that won't do by our president, the poverty here in our country will stop. If the poverty will stop, the people will do bad things like kidnapping, and also killings, and a lot of drugs that happen here in our country. And most of all are made by those drug users. So, for them to have money to buy those drugs that we want. So, that's all.
Another reflection from the group.
The government of the Philippines is taking the criminals, using the same methods of the criminals, that's the worst of all outcomes, fighting the war on drugs and losing it. When that happens, the criminals take over the government, but with the drug trade legalized, taxed and regulated by alcohol and tobacco trades, then the criminals lose control of their victim and are put out of business. Moreover, when drugs becomes illegal, all addicts can be recognized for what they really are. Sick people needing medical help rather than criminals. Also, at present, it should be acknowledged by all that the war on drugs has cost thousands of lives and has never succeeded. Mr. Duterte is going down a path that has had disastrous consequences for other countries. One must hope he abandons his reckless policies before more harm is done.
Last 2 from the group.
Good morning, everyone. Here's my reflection from positive side. During the political campaign of President Rodrigo Duterte, he promised to fix the problems in drugs, especially the dealers, pushers, users, and also the drug lords who were responsible for using drugs. So we declared war on drugs because it is the only way to fix the problems in drugs. It's because the Philippine presidency's drug dealing and addiction is a major obstacle to the Philippine economic and social progress. The Philippine National Police also revealed a list of high-level political officials and influential people. They are the protectors of legal syndicates. According to a 2012 United Nations report, among all the countries in East Asia, the Philippines had the highest rate of methamphetamine abuse estimate showed that about 2.2% of the Filipino between the ages of 16 to 64 were using methamphetamine. While continuously working on war on drugs in the Philippines, by early December 2016, nearly 6,000 people had been killed and more than 40,000 people had been arrested. In that way, the number of people who engage in illegal drugs are decreasing. By early December 2016, nearly 6,000 people had been arrested and more than 40,000 people had been arrested. In that way, the number of people who engage in illegal drugs are decreasing. There are some political officials and human rights organizations who are not favor for this extrajudicial killing because for them it is not a way to fix the problems in drugs. It is a violation for killing the lives of other people. But how about the lives of other people who are the victims of the criminals who engage in illegal drugs such as murderers and rapists? If the Philippine president don't mind this problem, it will continuously spread and the lives of the other people were endangered. So now, why we should let our president and some trusted government officials to do what is better and what is right for this country and support them to fix the crimes in drugs. That's all.
And Now for the last reflection.
So, good morning, everyone. The application of war on drugs resolves moral problems. Since the time that our President Rodrigo Duterte implemented such advocacy, many people had died in hands of bullets. This clearly shows immorality towards life. Don't you pity to those victims who died because of this nonsense advocacy? Eventually, the government will become as an improper government, but a criminal conspiracy, where it will have descended to the level where people is fighting. The drug trade is to be deplored for several reasons, not least because it brings misery to millions of addicts, but also because it represents states within states. A parallel jurisdiction based not on law as the arbiter of disputes, but on brute force. The drug trade is inherently violent because it is illegal. The way to tame it is to legalize it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, students, for a very well presented ideas. So this time, may I call in Sir Melvin Garcia, one of the adjudicators for the comments, suggestions, at the same time for giving awards for this class debate that we had.
Good morning. So, first of all, I would like to congratulate your teacher, Ma'am Rosanna Alilain, for taking a good part in making this class debate a productive one for you as a learners of the 21st century skills. So, students, are you now satisfied? Are you now all relieved with this activity?
Yes.
Congratulations. Give yourselves a round of applause. So thank you very much for coming up this kind of class activity that hones your ability to become a 21st century learner. So congratulations for the opposition and the proposition team for giving such good remarks and arguments in your class debate. I would like to point out only the specific observations that I have recalled in your class debate. During your class debate, the facilitation was very excellent. Okay? And of course, all the rules were clearly established to you. All the students' learning styles were given the chance to react, respond, and of course show your approval. And it was really indeed a student-centered activity. For the conduciveness of this class debate, of course, there is what we call an active learning. Higher order thinking questions are also emphasized. And of course, reflections from the audience are given emphasis. So for the questioning and the reaction side or reacting skills, there was a creative throw of answers, of questions, and of course the answers are given the good remarks. Nevertheless, this makes a good start for you to perform such activity that makes you a better debater someday. Congratulations, best debater, best speaker, and the winning team for this topic of the class debate, the Declaration of War on Drugs, campaigned by our President Rodrigo Duterte. The best speakers I would say, from the opposition team goes to Jella Claire Carbonilla. And from the proposition team, Alexis Joseph Magliaga. Stand up. And for the best debater among the class debate, congratulations, Kaya aspirants. Okay, who will be the best class debate team with unanimous decision from the 3 judges? Winning team for the class debate goes to the opposition team. Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations everyone for the job well done. So let us give 5 rounds of applause to ourselves. So, may I request the participants of both sides to please stand up and make a handshake to each and everyone, speakers.
Kailangan abno.
So, thank you students. So now, for your assignment, each one of you, I want you to make a reaction paper about this activity that we have. The declaration of the war on drugs by our President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. So at least 200 words. 200 words of a reaction paper. Each one of you will make that reaction paper. So, thank you students and thank you teachers for this debate. So, thank you very much.